This is a delegation of the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, led by the head of delegation, Mr. Tron Jensen, during a courtesy visit to Governor Maimala Buni at Government House, Damaturu. Stating the purpose of the visit, the head of the delegation says they are in Yobe State to appreciate the commitment of the state government in supporting humanitarian operations. He says despite all challenges, Yobe State government under the administration of Governor Maimala Buni is setting an example for other states to follow in restoring dignified means of livelihood to the victims of crisis. Mr. Tron says the main purpose of the visit is to inform the governor about the changes that will happen in the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, which have to do with the humanitarian situation not only in Nigeria but globally.
So we come here today to, first of all, to tell you about changes that will happen in OCHA, but also to cast some light on what is happening in terms of the humanitarian situation, not just here in Nigeria, but globally, in terms of funding, in terms of support, in terms of reform processes that we are going through. And again, to talk about how we can best work together in terms of the changed environment. As I'm sure you are aware, we are facing a crisis, a very profound crisis. 60% of the funding that was provided for humanitarian purposes here in Nigeria came from the United States of America. And that, unfortunately, is now history. What we've also seen is that many of our other supporters, such as the United Kingdom, they are reducing the support by 40%. The Netherlands are reducing the support by 50%, as is the Germans. And we go through the list, and it's a very, very challenging picture. What we're also seeing is that many of the needs that we are trying to address, they are increasing at the same time as our ability and capacity to address them is decreasing.
He therefore calls on the state government to put more efforts toward mitigating the resurging humanitarian challenges. Responding, Governor Maimala Buni thanks the head of the delegation for the visit and the support rendered by OCHA to the people of the state over the years. Governor Buni describes the pulling out of the humanitarian support by the donors as a wake-up call to the leaders and the people of the crisis-affected communities.
When we came in 2019, we launched the concept of Yobe First, knowing fully well it is not about lamentation. We can't be lamenting and expect our problems to be solved. So what we put in place, or the concept, which of course is what we are still battling to ensure that we succeed, is to return the displaced persons back to their various communities with dignity, not by force. So that was the concept of seeing to it that we provide the basic amenities in the various communities, especially the frontline local governments where the insurgency actually took its toll.
The governor says people should not always depend on the supports provided by donors, noting that the donors have played significant roles in supporting the people, hence the need for them to be resilient enough to stand on their feet when the supports are pulled out. Governor Buni, while appreciating the support of the humanitarian organizations in the state, also informs the delegation that the state government under his watch has provided avenues that will sustain the living standard of the people, especially those in the affected communities. For YTV News, Muhammad Gambo reporting.